Hi, and welcome back to OnSideSA, and we're well into our competitions now with the last one standing. The two guys who are fighting it out are still going, Butch.
Yeah, Paul, unfortunately the boat didn't go through. That's the second miss they've had, but still, they've got two great picks this week, Paul. So
Gary Citron, Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton.
Alan Costa, Newcastle.
Two good choices this week, Paul. So, unfortunately, if they don't get a result or the both draw or get beat, next week we'll have a playoff because they've only got the four lower teams to play.
Yes.
So, but this week, let's hope we have a winner, Paul. They both deserve it, yeah.
Right, the main one, a lot of bodies. I'm looking at, how many have we got left, Budge?
Paul, 103.
103. Those that went through are Arsenal 51, top of the league. Tottenham 45, they're up there, and Crystal Palace 7.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting, Budge. Let's look at the ladies. We always like to have a look. Now, there's an imbalance somewhere, Budge. How many ladies started?
37, I think it was.
And there are 12 ladies left.
Yeah.
Wow, with 17 selections. That's excellent, Budge. The ladies,
Paul, they do as
percentage-wise,
much homework, I believe, as the men do.
So the ladies have really got, and I'm going to mention the ladies because it's important. Michelle Tovey, she's always up there. Marilyn Giorgio, Melissa Borenser, Tracy Nell, Holly Lafferty, Harriet Sneyman, Ashley Berger, Kelly Potts, Julie Usher, Catherine Armstrong, she's always up there, Tennille Werners and Montana Werners. See, the Werners girls are going well.
Yeah, Paul.
They've got a chance.
Werners camp came and hijacked the Gold Cup with Lawrence's horse, so maybe they're trying to hijack the competition. But good luck to them, Paul.
Pick of the round, Crystal Palace. Charlie Pigram, there was Mark Fillion, Andy Keane, Tony Evans, Gavin Wright, Sean Singleton, and Michael McManus.
Michael squeaked in, yeah.
So the legend Singleton keeps going. Okay. The internationals left. This is always amazing. And the countries that they represent, very good, Budge. Francois Dumy, he's in Mauritius. Kelly Potts, Fort Lauderdale, that's magnificent. Tony Evans, Australia. Derek Ramsey, Wales. Kevin Power, UK. Steve Potter, UK. Charlie Pigram, UK. And Tubbs Riddell, UK.
Well, UK and Texas, he's all over the world now.
So he does two pots. Well done to Tubbs, he stayed in. And then Budge, 4 entrants with 3 picks.
Well, that's the most, Most they've got, only a couple guys
Sean,
with 3.
the legend Singleton's going strong with 3. Graham Hawkins, a Spurs man, going well. And Montana and Jared Werners. The Werners are going well.
Must be some breakfast, Paul, when they're studying.
Breakfast of the stars, Special mention for each in round 4. Now, these are normally the mullets. Roger Laveau.
Oh, you met him yesterday.
He
was in the box.
Yeah, he was there.
Roger.
Stuart Cameron.
A big QPR boy. He's
Bush Tavern.
Bush Tavern, one of Steve Potter's members,
And Chris Wheeler, Postnet.
Yeah, he's the main guy that organises the sponsor. So it's the furthest Chris has got in ages. So pick it up, Chris.
Now, I just want to ask you a question
Yeah.
before we go on to where our next competitions are coming from. At this stage, there's 103 left, Budge.
Yeah.
None of them have used Liverpool.
Yeah, well, if you've used Liverpool in the competition, you're right.
So 103 could
all, I
say.
think majority of them, Paul, Bournemouth at home, you would think it's a good thing. I know a couple of guys already come with alternate selections.
We need that. We need that because Liverpool haven't won yet.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a midweek round.
Yes, Paul. Next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, next week.
We'll get that.
This game, so we'll have to have
There'll only be 30 people we were talking to.
You never know. Paul, Liverpool don't get a result, there could be 10 left or something. But definitely a midweek round, and I'll get hold of everybody that goes through about this.
Now, Budge, the guys that have gone out are obviously grumbling, and they keep pushing you when the next one's going to start. Because the way this is crumbling, it's going to be sooner rather than later. And you've earmarked September the 10th.
Paul, that's the day. The following weekend, there's 2 games on Friday, and middle of October, it's Bernice, my partner's 60th, so we're going away. So I didn't want to have the 3rd week of the competition, a couple of 100 entrants still going, and then there's a problem. So we'll start on September the 10th. Okay. And you were at the box yesterday, Paul. There were 5 guys who went out screaming, when are we starting again?
Yeah, that's right.
September the 10th, Paul. Everybody will be notified.
Lovely. All right, but let's get it. What about Stevie B? Where's he in London? I
don't know. He should be embarrassed.
They start the cricket again today. They've got a chance in Manchester to come back at us.
No wonder Swinbank won't get hold of me. He's at the cricket already,
All right, Stevie about. Steve, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning, Stevie. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Just as well the cricket is not down south today. We've got heavy rain all day today, so Manchester will be sunny.
You're kidding
Maybe
me.
the sun will shine on England's batsmen.
I've never been to Manchester, and all the times when it's been sunny, it's always been raining.
Stevie, I want to ask you guys, what are you doing with hosepipe restrictions in a country that's soaked with it? Build some dams, store some water. You guys have got hosepipe restrictions and it's pouring. Only the pubs.
I know, it's crazy. So they brought in a hosepipe ban in London yesterday, which affects about 10 million people, and today it's pouring with rain. But it obviously, it takes a while for the reservoir to fill up. But,
Reservoir?
Anyway, so yeah.
Okay, I hate to be the prophet,
Yeah.
but Fulham got beat to Crawley Town.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good performance, even though we rested the entire starting 11 from the weekend. We played lots of our new signings, particularly at the back, and we played a lot of the young sort of under 21s up front, but they didn't have a shot on target. And talking to a friend who went, he said it was a really bad performance. They just didn't. They weren't up for it. So they got what they deserved, which was nothing. And it's an embarrassment really, because a Premier League team should not be going out to a team who are near the bottom of League Two.
Yeah.
Gee, that is...
Anyway, talking about embarrassing, United were embarrassing at Brentford. They turned it around on Monday night, Steve. Did you see it coming? Because I didn't.
Well, look, I mean, I think if there was a game that United need to be up for, it's their rivals, Liverpool, and they certainly were, and it was thoroughly deserved. They worked much harder. They pressed. They put Liverpool under pressure, and Liverpool have been under pressure in all three games. So I wouldn't say alarm bells ringing, but they already find themselves a few points at Bristol City. And I think for them, obviously, the weekend is a must-win, and they probably will. But it was a thoroughly deserved win by United. And all credit to Ten Hag. He was brave, dropping Ronaldo and Maguire, and he wanted pace. He said that he wanted he wanted to press Liverpool, and they did.
Yeah, I agree. Totally deserved win. Even the staunchest Liverpool supporters I know said they were garbage, and United got the 3 points. Just a pity, never scored a few more goals, but 3 points nonetheless. Steve, just an interesting stat that got sent to me yesterday. Jurgen Klopp, it's his 7th year at Liverpool. When he was at Mainz, his first club, his 7th season, he got relegated. When he was at Dortmund in his 7th season, they finished 7th, and he resigned. This is his 7th season at Liverpool, so they 7-1 to finish 7th. So let's see what happens. So to all my Liverpool mates, be careful this year. For Tottenham and Paul squad, Champions League draw tonight, Steve.
Yeah, Champions League about 5 o'clock UK time.
Yeah, that's right.
So obviously it's a big deal, and for Tottenham back in the Champions League, I guess ultimately, the aim is to be in a group where you get through, because obviously it's the knockout stage the teams want to get to, and in the past most of the English teams have got through. Yeah. So they'll be hoping for sort of the draw to be kind to them.
Yeah, I saw in pot 2, obviously it's Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, and Barcelona in pot 2 as well. So that's a major plus to all the English clubs, because they'll be hard to beat in the group stage.
Yeah.
All right, well, good luck. Let's hope Spurs get a good draw.
Yeah, let's hope.
United are in the Tea Room Cup. I think that their Europa, that's drawn tomorrow.
The Tupperware Cup.
Tupperware Cup. All right, what can we do? Steve, on to the Premiership. Kick-off Saturday lunchtime. Surely Man United cannot go to Southampton and lay an egg or get beat. I know we're 8-10 to beat Southampton. Do you think that's a good bet?
I think based on the performance, the other evening, then that probably is. I mean, Southampton, all credit to them, after the opening sort of game, everybody was writing them off, and they've come back with a fight back against Leeds and a good win at Leicester last weekend. But I think United, if they can replicate the sort of the energy that they showed and the sort of clinical finishing, I think that they should run out winners.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Lunchtime. The one thing I do know is James Ward-Prowse will be throwing everything on De Gea. They always score against us, so both teams to score is an absolute certainty, unless United don't score again, but I find that hard to believe. But let's hope, Paul. I think the league needs a decent United, or a competitive United anyway. Now, Brentford was superb at home against United, but I wouldn't say woeful, but they gave a terrible start against your guys last week. I'm glad you got a result 3-2, even though I thought at one stage they were going to come back and win it. Everton, just can't believe it. I watched them in midweek. I think they were at Fleetwood. There's trouble in the camp. They're lacking quality. This is a good chance for Brentford, Steve.
I think you're right. I mean, the second half, Brentford played very well. The first half, they were probably fortunate only to be 2-1 down, and we missed some chances. Everton really just can't buy a goal. I mean, this is their problem at the moment. You know, they just have not, you know, with an injured Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison gone, and you know, Chelsea putting pressure on trying to sign Anthony Gordon, you know, they're in a bit of a mess. They are trying to bring players in, Everton, but I can't see them replacing Richarlison with anybody of the same quality. So, you know, I think Brentford score goals, and I'm difficult to. If Evan Toney gets the ball in the right place, I think he'll score. So, I think of the two, probably fancy Brentford to wedge it.
Yeah, I know defensively Everton not sounded with Tarkovsky and Cody, but I agree it's going to be hard to see them scoring. Now, Brighton, I watched the game on Sunday. Totally outplayed West Ham. One of the best organised teams in the league, without doubt. I think Steve Potter's a superb manager. I didn't see the Leeds United 3-0 defeat of Chelsea coming. This should be a close game, Steve.
I think so. You know, I mean, Brighton have surprised, I think, everybody, having lost, you know, a couple of key players like sort of Bissouma and Cucurella. Yeah, but they are. I mean, Graham Potter really has them, you know, they're as a unit. And again, I didn't think that they would get a result, and probably as convincing as they did at West Ham. Yeah. Leeds was superb against Chelsea. I mean, they pressed them all over the pitch, made them look. Chelsea look pretty ordinary, and I think this will be a close game. Leeds just seem up for it, and they're working incredibly hard. Yeah. You know, again, the same as Brentford did against United, the same as Leeds did against Chelsea, and they ran, you know, many kilometres more on the pitch. I have a feeling that this could be a lot closer than the betting sounds.
It's strange that Brighton have got better results away from home than at home.
That is strange.
But I agree. I think it'll be a tight game.
Chelsea, good things? Chelsea,
good things in my opinion. Reason being, at Stamford Bridge, they should have beat Spurs. And I watched Leicester last week. The competition I enter, 1-0 up Leicester. They don't look interested, Steve, especially defensively. Every ball outside the box, 50-50, Southampton won. And I was disappointed I went out, but I could see it coming. And I can see this being a big result for Chelsea, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, well, I think they need to. I mean, they need to bounce back after the performance and the result. And yeah, there are scheduled. You know, my understanding is there could be still quite a few comings and goings in the next week at Chelsea. Yeah. So until they get a settled side, you're not sure what's going to happen. But as you say, there's a little bit of unrest at Leicester. The whole issue with Fofana, you know, not making himself available really in the right frame of mind to play. You'd think that if he wants to go, they should let him go and bring players in to replace him. But I think Chelsea should win. Again, if the Chelsea, the way they played in that first half against Tottenham, they replicate that, you'd think they'd win comfortably.
Yeah. The only thing that's certain is that Kasper Schmeichel was the main man at Leicester, because without him, you know, they're woeful. Defence, terrible. But 4-10 Chelsea. I think it was even money to win by more than one. I think 2-1 Chelsea win both teams to score. Because one thing about Maddison, Harvey Barnes and them, they can play going forward. Steve, Liverpool 1-10.
Certainty.
Is that where you go and get £1 million and throw it on them?
Well, no, normally you would. I mean, you're not quite sure what you're going to get. You know, you can't see anything other than a convincing home win. And in fact, if Liverpool fail to win, you know, you can't see them. You know, how could they win the league? You know, if you can't beat teams like Bournemouth at home. So Bournemouth were pretty poor at home to Arsenal last week. Liverpool, you have to assume. I know they've got some injury problems, etc. But you know, you'd expect them to win by a couple of goals here.
Now, you mentioned that Liverpool injury. I'm going to agree with Enzo Coppola, a good friend, staunch, and he was saying how many injuries they've got. And I replied to him, I said, Enzo, let's take your team that played Man United. Alisson, starter. Trent Alexander, starter. Van Dijk, starter. Robertson, starter. Henderson, starter.
Fabinho.
Salah, Fabinho was on the bench, so Salah, starter, and Diaz. You had 7 starters. I said Gomez isn't the worst of centre halves.
Yeah.
I said if Fabinho, I said you got 2 midfield players and a centre forward, so you really had 8 players.
Yeah.
I said you don't come with that story.
Yeah, Everton can come with it.
You know,
but he
everyone
can't.
can come with that story, but they had 8 recognised players that are good enough to play for Liverpool. So there's plenty of excuses. But change back to the game against Bournemouth. If they don't win 3-4-0, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, me too. Man City certainties?
Phew. How do you see it, Steve?
Listen, you know, I think City will win. You know, I thought they were going to win at Newcastle, and certainly when they got back to 3-3, you thought, oh, is only one team going to win this? But Newcastle dug deep.
Yeah.
You know, so they just looked a little bit uncertain. City at the back. I mean, Newcastle. Credit to them, they could have been, you know, 2 or 3 down before they got a sniff, and they were right back in it. Yeah. So, you know, again, you know, there are some results you haven't really expected so far this season, but I think City should be too strong.
Steve, how good's your memory? Last season,
Yes.
Crystal Palace 2, Man City 0. Yeah. And a couple of seasons before, I think it was Townsend hit that volley. So Palace are always capable. But I agree, if they can't defend, they could get 3 or 4. But
to get back on
big game. But I like
Vieira.
Vieira. I think he's a top manager. But hard to see Palace getting a draw.
Fullman?
Steve, what do you think?
No, I would be very. I mean, I've been very impressed with Arsenal this season. I mean, they've won their games quite comfortably. They look really good. I mean, Jesus, you know, is doing what people expected to do, and he. Really sharp and looking like he could end up, you know, being close. I think Jesus won't be far off the Golden Boot winner this season.
Okay.
I'd be amazed if we get to win a couple of goals. I mean, I could see this. You know, hopefully we put up a fight, but I'd be very surprised if we got anything out of the game. You know, and not because. You know, I mean, we are. I'm not going to make excuses. You know, we have a thin squad. I just think Arsenal have got a lot of quality and playing very well this year.
Yeah,
so,
you're under pressure,
so
Steve.
Again, yeah, I'd be surprised if we got anything at all. It's a 5:30 kickoff.
Yeah. How about the 2 strugglers, Steve?
Aston Villa, West Ham. How do you see that going?
Excuse me.
Well, I mean, I don't. You know, it's interesting. West Ham are linked again with another £30 million player, and you just think, you know, they're trying to bring all these players in, but they've started off no points, no goals. You know, surprised really. Villa, you know, again haven't played very well. You know, they were fortunate they played a poor Everton team. Other than that, they haven't performed. I think of the 2, you fancy Villa, but you know, maybe West Ham will get something out of the game. I think it will be close though.
Yeah, I fancy West Ham are the 2 teams. I watched Aston Villa in the League Cup. They played Bolton, 1-0 down. They had a strong team. And they ended up winning 4-1, but they look miles away. I don't know what Gerrard's done or said, but there's players playing, I just don't know. Even McGinn doesn't look the same player. You know, West Ham, they play the Europa League. Slowly but surely, they've got to come right, in my opinion. I watched them against Brighton. Brighton gave them a football lesson.
Yeah,
they had chances.
Brighton were way
But they
better.
just don't seem to be scoring from set pieces, which they're used to, West Ham. But this is a chance for them, Steve. I think there'll be goals in this game. But I think a score draw in this game. But I just can't have Aston Villa.
Talking about not buying a goal, what about Wolves? They murdered Spurs and couldn't score.
Yeah.
And look at them. They're at home now to Newcastle, coming off a great draw.
Well, I think the thing for Wolves is that they've brought in a couple of players who, you know, they played very well at Tottenham, particularly in the first half. But Jimenez is back.
Yeah.
You know, he's back during the week, and they've missed him. You know, I mean, he is a goal threat. You know, he's a goal poacher. I think that'll be. I think there'll be goals. You know, but Newcastle dug deep and showed a lot of fight against City. They showed that going forward they can score goals. I think. I can see a draw here, but I can see goals. I can see there definitely being goals.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I like Newcastle. Steve, that performance against Man City, if it wasn't anybody but Man City, I think they'd have won comfortably. I like Pope at the back. They seem to have tightened up all along. Wolves just a bit worried about scoring. They did play my Preston boys in midweek. The first half, Preston stood off them. Second half, apparently we did very well and scored. played well, but it was a lunchtime kickoff against Spurs, and I think that affected Spurs. But this is a big game for Wolves, Steve. They don't score many goals. They drew with Fulham, and if Mitrovic scores that penalty, they'd have been in deeper trouble. But the draw is a big player, but I'm all over Newcastle, you know.
Yeah, I'm all over the draw. I think Wolves have got to turn it around soon. Okay, what about Notts Forest? They're in 10th. Tottenham are in 4th.
What do you think, Steve? Upset?
Well, I'd be surprised. I mean, Forest were very fortunate to beat West Ham. You know, they got a point, although they could have won against poor Everton side. But I think, you know, Tottenham have aspirations to replicate and get another top 4 place. I think, you know, while Forest are still bedding in all these new players, you know, you'd expect Tottenham to go there and get a result.
Yeah,
I agree
if
with
they
you.
do take their chances like West Ham should have done, I think this could be a 3-1, 4-1 job. But if Forest are having a go, but Spurs score early, I think the tide will come in. Steve, on to the Championship. Friday night, Luton, Sheffield United. Luton disappointing so far.
18th.
Chance to come get a result, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, they have. I mean, after last season, I think a lot of people were expecting them to push on. But, you know, they have been disappointing. And Sheffield United have clawed their way up to, you know, the top of the Championship.
Top of the league.
I think, top of the league. I can't see Luton winning this.
Okay.
I think Sheffield United will definitely start as favourites.
Okay, I think
Good
it draws
price.
a player. I just think Luton, you know, should have beat Preston at home. They got beat. I think at their home form, they got a chance, Steve. I watched Sheffield United against Sunderland. Okay, they won, but not impressive. But I think it draws a player there. Mention of Sunderland.
Till I die.
22-10 at home against the Norwich team. Now, I watched Norwich beat Millwall. Every decision they could have got, they got Norwich. The second goal should have been disallowed from a foul from the American striker. I don't know. I think there's goals in this, Steve. I don't think Norwich should be 13-10. Yeah.
I mean, look, Norwich have come back with a couple of wins and after a poor start, but I have a feeling that Sunderland could upset them.
Yeah.
You know, again, they're going to be roared on by a sort of a 35,000 sort of crowd. I think, you know, I think there are good times ahead at Sunderland, and I think of the two, you know, I think Sunderland probably might just edge it.
Yeah, I hope so. Fans love the supporters up there.
I earmarked the draw, but Sunderland, they were 1-0 up and they were beat 2-1 in the league. They would have been even higher.
They would have been higher. They beat somebody 1-0 last week, Steve, didn't they? They went 1-0 away. Anyway, I'm glad for the fans and the guy who bought it for the pound. How much did he pay for them?
Peanuts.
Peanuts. Good luck to him. He's worth a lot more now. Now, Steve.
Blackburn are doing well.
Blackburn, great start, but they've lost the last couple away from home. I think they're good things to beat Stoke. I think 14-10 is a good price. It's in all our bets.
Yeah, I mean, Blackburn obviously came unstuck last week, but you know, Stoke don't travel very well, and I think Blackburn would probably start as favourites. Yeah,
I see that Leeds came in for Brereton Diaz, I think his name is, and they said he's not going to Leeds, so that's a major plus for Blackburn. I think 14-10 is a great price.
It's interesting. I mean, he had a price tag of about 20+ million last year before he got injured. You know, I don't think it would take that much to price him away, but it really depends if he's made it clear he won't sign a new contract at Blackburn. He's into. So whether or not they feel, well, we're just going to keep you and play you because they won't get anything for him next year. So
sell him in January.
You know, be interesting to see what happens. Again, if he was to go in January, they wouldn't get that much either. So, but you know, maybe they feel that they've got to keep him because unless they've got somebody else in mind, you know, they don't want to lose their main striker.
And I think also, Steve, the Championship is not as cut and dried as it has been in recent times.
No.
I've watched the Watfords, Preston outplayed them. You know, I've seen Sheffield United who are top. Norwich are no great shakes. So, you know, if they can get a few results, keep him. You never know. Yeah. Now, Blackpool cost me money last week. 3-1 down at Burnley. I thought Burnley was certainties. Came back 3-3. I watched Bristol City on Sunday. They beat Cardiff City 2-0. Yeah. The one thing I know about this game, Steve, there's going to be goals.
Yeah. I mean, I think there will be goals, and Blackpool score goals at home, and they did very well to come back with a couple of late goals at Burnley. But Bristol City have just got back in with a couple of wins. Yeah, you know, they played well. They deserve to win on Sunday in the sort of seven-side derby they call it. So, you know, I'm not sure that, you know, to say the betting has gone with the home team, but I think Bristol City will give it a good go.
Yeah.
And I can see them getting something out of that game.
Yeah, so can I. Good to watch. Have a full go. That Nigel, ex-Leicester manager. No, it's Nigel Pearson. Yeah. Good to watch. I must say, the championship, I've watched every game this year. It's really been good. Okay. Steve, on to our second page. We've got Millwall versus Reading. Millwall, my best bet of the weekend.
Have you got Millwall? I've got the page the wrong way around.
But you can't have Millwall. They're my best bet.
Okay, fair enough.
Look, Millwall have won their home games. Reading have won at home, but they haven't got a point away. So, I think Reading have actually had a couple of good results. They had a good win last week. They were my best bet, and they came through for me. But I think at home, Millwall will be too strong.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay. Rotherham, who, as they said, last season lost their best two strikers.
They've been promoted.
This is a good chance to get more points against a Birmingham City team who seem in and out.
Yeah, well, Rotherham, last time out at home, put
4-0,
in the first half against Reading. Had a tremendous performance. Birmingham, I thought they started off okay, but, again, with all the shenanigans going on behind the scenes with the ownership, they haven't really strengthened. And I think of the two, you'd have fancied Rotherham to maybe pinch it by a goal.
Yeah. Now, Watford hosting QPR. I think it's a London derby. I was on Watford in midweek to score. They couldn't score against MK Dons when they got knocked out. QPR have been woeful. Every time I go for them, they cost me money. What do you think, Steve?
Well, it seems like, Watford, there's a few of the Watford players are being targeted by other clubs, but the deals have fallen through. I think if they keep them, they'll do well. Certainly, if they're available, so if you've got players like Pedro and Sarr available at the weekend, then I think Watford will probably just edge it.
Okie dokie. Then we got Lancashire Derby. Wigan at home at Burnley. I backed Burnley when they beat Huddersfield. They were hanging on to the death. They haven't won in the last 4.
Yeah, but I think that they will probably be too strong for Wigan. I'd be surprised if they don't get a result there. Of the two, I fancy Burnley. Okie
dokie. On to the next page. We've got Cardiff versus my Preston boys. We're the only team in England I don't think has conceded a goal. The only problem is we've only scored 1 goal in 5 games.
I know.
But crazy.
If 0-0 seems like their favourite score, I think, again, Preston will make themselves hard to beat.
Yeah.
Cardiff, I thought would started off okay. I thought would be a little higher than they are. I could see this finishing all square. It'd be a pretty low scoring game though. Yeah,
I was telling Paul earlier, Troy Parrott, the fans love him. It's just his finishing hasn't been up to scratch. Otherwise, they're saying we would be top of the league. But I remember watching Cardiff. They beat Norwich, I think it was in the first week. Very direct team. Yeah. Not too much quality. They were the team that got beat by Bristol City. But, Preston, if you don't score, how are you going to win? So draw a player. Now, Huddersfield at home to West Brom. West Brom had a great result last week. Do you see them getting another result, Steve?
Yeah, Huddersfield, for me, although they had a good win recently at home, but I think West Brom, they've obviously scored, found their sort of scoring boots. They've got, 5 goals. And I think that if they carry that form into the game, I think they'll be too strong for Huddersfield.
I agree. It just looked like they needed something in bag.
How many games have Coventry missed?
3.
So that's why they're 24th.
Yeah, they've only played 2 games. 1-1 draw, won both away from home. Sunderland was the game that they drew because I watched it. Yes. Steve, Hull City have started off well.
Yes. I think Hull should start as favourites. And the thing with Coventry is, players need to play at this stage of the season. Not very well, but going to that game, and they say they've only got 1 point. They lost at Millwall and drew with Sunderland, but I think that I think they will start. I'm surprised that the betting. I think Hull will probably should start as favourites.
Yeah, totally agree. And last but not least, Steve, Middlesbrough, who until I did the stats haven't won in 5 of their 5 league games. Surely this is a great chance against Swansea.
Yeah, although Swansea are a funny side. You're not quite sure what you're going to get. Both teams,
Yeah.
I thought, would be much higher than they are. And Middlesbrough are very disappointing. Middlesbrough just signed on loan Rodrigo Muniz from the Brazilian.
Okay.
Who, Marco Silva, I think, has sent him out to get some experience because he's not going to be a starter in the Premier League. So I'm not sure about this game. I think it could go either way. Both teams are disappointing. Swansea often are better away. They play football, but again, their end product is there. I think Middlesbrough might just get off the mark. I think they might just get their first home win. It will be close.
Yeah, they were ranked favourite, one of the favourites to come up. Steve, best bet and value bet. I made a mistake. My best bet in the Championship was Millwall. My best bet is in Spain, Rayo Vallecano. I watched them twice. They drew at Barcelona, could have beat them. And they won 2-0 against Espanyol with 10 men. 12-10, I think I saw. Superb price. So you're going Millwall, Steve, your banker.
I'm going to Millwall. I just think at home they're strong. Just because I think of the fact that they're showing at 3-1, I think it's a good value bet for Leeds. I think that if they play as they did against Chelsea, they press all over the pitch. They might just pull off a little bit of a surprise and get a win at Brighton.
Well, anything's possible. But Steve, just remember, last one standing, September the 10th, kicks off. Just don't pick Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Spurs have kept everybody in, yeah? So what can we do? Steve, thanks again, and I can't say enjoy the cricket.
Pleasure.
But
thanks very much, Steve. All the best, Steve.
Well, let's see.
Thank you.
Yeah, talk to you next week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye. Right, there's Stevie B, the international pundit, and doesn't he know his stuff? Now let's go to the PSL. PSL's local guys. Some strange results again. Let's start with Cape Town City against Chiefs. Yes.
Yeah, they played at that rugby, or the rugby where they play sevens and that. Such a bumpy pitch. The wind was howling. The pitch was soppy. Played well. Cape Town City were the better team. The problem I have with Chiefs is
can't score.
But Paul, they get in good positions, and that final ball is not good enough.
Yeah.
But Cape Town City deserved winners.
Swallows keep going well.
I wasn't on, Paul. That's the game I wanted to watch.
Dylan Kerr.
1-0 down. They came back to win 2-1. So Dylan's on a bit of a roll.
He's doing well. Well done. Now, Wednesday, the results. Let's look at these. Sundowns too good for Stellenbosch.
I saw that, Paul. I saw.
Because Stellenbosch started well.
Yeah, started well, yeah.
And then Amazulu, if they'd have won this game, they'd have been
Paul,
top of the league.
they were top of the league.
Yes, they would have.
Arrows were bottom. They played at Princess Magogo, so where they couldn't play the stadium because Comrades on the weekend.
Yes.
So maybe that helped them. But they didn't score. Mahangu, who's their main striker, him and they got a Nigerian number 9. He never played, so maybe that was a problem. But bad result for Soto.
Yeah, and they got a tough one coming up as well, Amazulu. They could lose back to back. Chipper Galaxy, no score.
0-0. They don't score many goals, both sides, Paul.
Pirates, I watched this. The other team had a few chances.
Yeah, they can play that Maruba Gallants,
Yeah, I watched the Maruba Gallants can play. Yes, that's right. Then Richards Bay got beat by Supersport.
First result for Gavin. Big result for him.
Big result for him. Big result. And the Royal LM, the Chatsworth side,
they don't get beat in Chatsworth too often. I think only Pirates have beat them there in a long time. So
they can play.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right, let's look at the fixtures this weekend.
Paul,
this is it. Cape Town City. Is it?
This is a knockout, Paul.
Well, Amazulu got it all to do again.
Tough game, Paul.
Cape Town City.
Cape Town City, they'll come fired up. Tinkler got a good record in the cup.
Yeah.
But Paul, I watched the game in Durban. Amazulu scored
Sorry, Budge, is this a one-off?
One-off game, 90 minutes penalty. Extra time penalties.
Okay.
And Amazulu scored 2 screamers to beat them. Outstanding game. That's why I like Cape Town City Swallows. Good to watch, Paul. Maybe it's the managers, but they have a go. Paul, of the two teams, obviously it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
The draws a player.
12-10, Cape Town City might interest a few people.
Yeah, I'd be looking at the goals, Paul. They're playing this game at Athlone. So it's not like they're playing at the rugby stadium, so hopefully the pitch is a little bit better.
So you'll never walk Athlone.
You'll never walk Athlone, yeah, you're right.
Royal AM doing well. They got Pirates both winners this week.
Yep, they played a couple of, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and Pirates beat them 1-0. So that's Chatsworth, but Royal AM at Chatsworth, Paul, it'll be under 2.5 goals.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's hope for the Durban team,
Stellenbosch got to bounce back.
Yeah.
They got Chiefs who can't score.
Can't score, Paul, but apparently, speaking of the supporters, they rested a few players for this game. Didn't look like it to me, but I think there'll be goals in this, Paul. Steve was disappointed last night, but Sundowns are Sundowns, and they gave them a football lesson, Stellenbosch, even though they hit the post, I think it was twice what I was watching, but tough game, Paul. But, Chiefs of old would be a mismatch, but I don't like what I see from this team, so an upset's possible.
Sundowns 9 to 10?
Paul, that was early betting. After last night's result, you never know. Maybe they'll short. But SuperSport won as well. This game has been played at the Tuck Stadium.
Where's that?
That's Pretoria University. It's so it's a neutral venue. Normally they played Loftus or they played Attridgeville. So maybe that's the reason that the betting is closer than But I think 9 to 10 is a gift. If Sundowns are 9 to 10.
Sundowns, good side.
Hey, top side, Paul.
Top side. Right, let's go and have a look at your bets, but it's always interesting in your selections here.
Yeah, Paul, we got the exotics first. This is our Tab Gold Score 6. 6 bet, should I say. First game, I've thrown the draw with Man United, lunchtime kickoff. I just don't trust us. Hopefully we can get the result, but let's see us put a few results before I bank them. The Brentford-Everton game, we're allowed to put a couple of fields, so I'm going the field in that. Brighton-Leeds, as much as I like Brighton, any results possible. I've thrown the draw in with Chelsea, because you never know Leicester. They can score goals. And I'm bankering Man City to beat Palace and Arsenal to beat Fulham 2-1-6.
Okay, the next one,
Onto the Pumalela Soccer 6, I'm going United win and draw at Southampton. I've gone Amazulu win a draw at Cape Town City. I think the draw is a major player. Brentford win and draw at home against Everton. Signing with Brighton Hove Albion, winning home against Leeds United. Orlando Pirates win and draw against Royal AM, and I've got a bank at Arsenal.
Arsenal.
192. On to our score 10.
Score 10.
Yep, I'm going United win and draw at Southampton. Going the field in the Brentford Everton, Brighton versus Leeds United games. Banking Chelsea to beat Leicester, Liverpool to beat Bournemouth, Man City to beat Palace. I'm going the field in the Watford Queen's Park Rangers game. I'm going Blackburn Rovers, win and draw at home against Stoke City. Ending up with 2 bankers. Arsenal to beat Fulham, Bayern Munich to beat Borussia Mönchengladbach. 50,000 rand carryover, so hopefully the pool gets nice.
What does Gladbach mean?
I know you've told it to me before, isn't it? Flat ground?
Flat Lake.
Flat Lake, okay.
Yeah. Well done.
So anyway, on to the soccer 13. I'm going Arsenal to beat Fulham, banking Chelsea to beat Leicester, Liverpool to beat Bournemouth. Siding with Brentford to avoid defeat at home against Everton. Going with Brighton Hove Albion, win and draw against Leeds United. I don't see Bristol City losing at Blackburn. Chancing Blackburn Rovers to be too good at home against Stoke City. Second page, I'm going Preston, hopefully to avoid defeat at Cardiff City. Banking West Brom to win at Huddersfield. Millwall to be too strong for Reading, and going with 3 win and draws. Rotherham United at home against Birmingham City, Watford at home against Queen's Park Rangers, and Burnley win and draw away at Wigan Athletic 256.
Okay, Budge. My favourite is Budgie's
Budgie's bets, Paul. Yeah, I'm on a bit of a roll, so let's hope it continues.
Keep it
I'm going Chelsea to beat Leicester and both teams to score.
Okay, got
you. And I had to put a bit of value because I think Tottenham will win at 9 to 20, and I fancy Newcastle United to win at Wolves. It's a hard game, Paul, but I think 18 to 10 is a good price. And there's so many good things. It was hard to find value, Paul, so that's what I went for.
Okay, I'm with you all the way, Budge.
Team goals only, I'm going Chelsea, Newcastle, West Ham and Tottenham, all to score over 1.5 goals.
You're going for West Ham to do it. They've struggled. It's about time they scored.
I think they'll score a few, Paul. Onto the championship, I'm going Blackburn to beat Stoke, Millwall to beat Reading, and Luton against Sheffield United, and Preston against Cardiff City, both with handicap +1. So it's like a double chance, but it's just better odds.
Preston got to score 2.
Well, no, Preston, we just got it's a draw. It's like a double chance, win or draw. But handicap +1's a new market, slightly bigger, better odds, 7 to 10 as opposed to 6 to 10. So rather advise the punters to take that market. Both teams to score sides, I'm going Sunderland Norwich, Blackpool Bristol City, Hull Coventry, and Watford QPR, 2,100 to 200. I've left out the PSL because there's not many games because it's the MTN age. So I've gone to Spain. I'm going Rayo Vallecano to beat Mallorca, Villarreal to beat Getafe, and both teams to score Girona Celta Vigo and Elche Real Sociedad, 3,000 to 200. I watched Real Sociedad. David Silva is still playing. You can't believe it. His vision is frightening, Paul. He made the Barcelona kids look faulty, but unfortunately they got a hiding. And last but not least, Collis King 6 on extra. I'm going Chelsea to beat Leicester, Tottenham to beat Notts Forest, Millwall to beat Reading, Barcelona to beat Real Valladolid, Rayo Vallecano to beat Mallorca, and Real Madrid to beat Espanyol, 3,200.
Right, Budge, there we go. Looking good And make sure we get those bets on. Do not forget last one standing.
Yep.
And there's 103 of which 15.
I would say 90 will be on Liverpool this week, Paul.
It would be the right thing to do. If they don't win, well, people will go into hiding.
Yeah. Well, especially Liverpool fans. I think Enzo will emigrate. But what can we do?
Until next time, stay on side.